Okay, so we're either winning or we already lost. And what I mean by that is this video being able to be presented to you right now, the podcast that we're listening to being able to be listened to, the information that, people like Candace Owens and the information that she's providing right now, some of the information that some of these big podcasters are coming out with. These are topics that we had to search for the last 20 years. It was very hard to find some of these issues at some point in time. But in other points of time, it was easier to find just because it was labeled completely conspiracy. There was no there was no one really worried about the conspiracy theorists actually, making any waves or really getting people to listen to them. They had a pretty good control over us 20 years ago. 5, 6, even 10 years after 9/11, there wasn't this huge community of people. Everything I used to talk about with my group of friends or anybody that I knew would kind of consider it a little bit crazy. They would listen to it because they're my friend or my family. But for the most part, they didn't really take me too seriously. I had my couple friends that we would dive deep, but most of my friends would, entertain the ideas. I would stir their mind or their opinions on some things here and there, but for the most part, they weren't believing that there was, satanic rituals of people sacrificing, babies and doing, all the food that and the way that they're, poisoning us with all these foods and chemicals for the last 20, 30 years, since the mid 80s, just horribly. Just the medicines and the whole pharmaceutical industry and how it's basically all corrupt and it's just all a system just to completely collapse us and keep us indoctrinated into the system. So we're constantly, paying and, basically a slave to the pharmaceutical system. Um, I've always known that sports and entertainment and everything was just to television and to guide us in a certain direction, but I'm not going to let it, control my world or whatever. But I've been trying to get these points across for 20 years and should have been making videos for at least the last 6 or 7 because I was right on point with COVID from the very beginning. I even made a video but then deleted it after a couple months. But everything I said in that thing was just on point. Um, so that's why I'm going to start making videos now. I have my whole little setup right here. Once I get it all started, I'm going to be, you know, doing it, really nicely. But for now, I just want to start getting some stuff out there until I have it all set up exactly the way I want. But enough of that tangent. Basically, what I mean by we're either winning or we've already lost is the information that I used to be able to get easier because it was labeled conspiracy and who cares. Then we went through this period over the last, I'd say, 5 to 8 years where people have woken up. Um, COVID really, really did it for a lot of people. 9/11 was the spark for some, especially once some of the truth started coming out. COVID, though, really, really woke people up. Maybe not the first year or two. Even some of the biggest conspiracy theorists were still a little worried in those first couple months because some of the videos we were seeing. But once we knew it was crap, I mean, by February or March of 2020, I already knew it was crap. By Easter, me and my whole family were having dinner and not worried and getting hounded by friends on stuff on Facebook about it. But now that people woke up over COVID and realized that was a complete sham, especially with what's going on with Fauci right now. Especially half the, of course, half the media is not talking about it, but if you know, you know. But that was a sham. Woke a lot of people up. Things started getting hidden more. People started getting taken down left and right. A lot of the people I was following for a decade or more just gone off YouTube. Like thousands of hours of their work completely gone. Videos that I used to go to people to show, like, hey, look, this is what I've learned. Look at this. He's proven it right here. Gone. So there was a period between 2020 and pretty much up until recently that we weren't able to hear these topics. You were having to use code words and everything up until even the last couple months on YouTube. Even now, there's some things you shouldn't be saying. So we're still restricted, but information's getting out. Information they normally would not let us have. It's normally been, you get this controlled route of information, and that's the information you're allowed to hear. You're allowed to hear what the news tells you. You're allowed to hear whatever influencers, whatever podcasts are putting out there. Everybody who's putting out information down some rabbit hole or down some connection, you can pretty much find them coming from the top somewhere, giving us the information that they want us to hear. Now we're getting information that I've always wanted to hear being talked about, but I'm questioning why we're being allowed to hear it. So that's where it comes into, we're either winning and they can't stop it. Like, the information is just too much, too fast. They can try to do their little ways of stopping it, like they're trying to do with Candace, where half the people you talk to say, oh, you listen to Candace, you listen to that trash. Like, obviously they're not listening to her if they think it's trash. But they do their little tactics to try to, discredit these conspiracies. But they're not working really, and they're letting us still hear this information. So there's that. But that also could mean that we've already lost. It could mean that they already have complete control. And they're essentially just letting this information out because they know we can't do anything about it. It's inevitable, the takeover of what's coming with maybe not even just AI. That could be a scare tactic, even though most think it's not. But just the inevitability of just the corporate takeover. We've already seen it get progressively worse over the decades, slowly but surely. They've completely controlled us in so many ways. They've labeled everything that we think are great things as like something good to look forward to, but they're really not good in the long run. Most technologies being put into big cities, being forced to commute to work and be further away from your family and God and society and friends and socializing and dating and connecting with people, all of that is slowly dwindling away. And we're being conceived by digital technology. Even someone like me is now wanting to get into making videos because that's a way of presenting myself. I can't just go out and start talking to people. Then I'm the crazy guy talking conspiracy stuff to everybody. I have to build my community and have people come to me and then spread and shared. And that's basically the only way to get your voice out now. Until you build that community, and then you can go out in public and whatever. But you get my idea. You get my point there. But I'm going to end the video here because I can take this tangent and talk for another 2 hours. But I want to see what this video does and then kind of go from there. Comment below what you want to hear me talk about and what you thought of this video. I'm curious just to see people's thoughts. I get a lot of people telling me that I have a gift of gab and I need to talk about stuff, and I really need to get my opinions out there. A lot of it is just me being a perfectionist, to be honest with you. You're going to get a lot of that in this, is me being honest. I want things to be perfect, and I need to not do that and just put out the information when I have something in my head. I'm just going to put it out, start doing these videos at least a little more. Maybe start trying to figure out how to do the shorts and all that stuff. I know it's pretty easy once you get doing it. So that's kind of where I'm going to go. Once I do get this going, I do want to start talking about other topics. I watch a lot of movies and TV shows, and I listen to a lot of music. So I want to update people on things like that. Not too into sports, but I am really into NFL football just because I grew up watching it. I know it's probably a little bit scripted at this point, but I do just enjoy it still. It's fun. I have some really good friends that may come on and want to talk some stuff with me too. So who knows where this will go. Hopefully I can keep it going. In the past, if you want to look back in my channel, I have done a lot of traveling. I started to do that. I spent like 3 months traveling around and doing that. Ideally, if this can pop off and I can make this a job, I'd ideally like to be traveling and doing this. So let's see where this goes. And I'm going to try to update and give my off the wall ideas on some of these conspiracies and see where it takes us, and try to update you on my thoughts on other things in the news, not just conspiracy related. So, all right, for now, peace out. I hope you enjoyed the video.